is Chase Pipes, and you're watching Chasing History, brought to you by American Digger Magazine and the Smoky Mountain Relic Room, and we are out in the expanse of Arizona with a good buddy, Aamon Jaeger. Aamon, thank you so much for having us out.
Anytime.
Dude, you have got a serious deal going on here, man. What are we out here doing?
We have a bit of a petrified tree problem.
A problem?
No,
good problem.
A good problem. So we're out here digging petrified trees. It's all Triassic chinle, northeast Arizona. These trees are 220 million years old, and it's actually a massive, expansive mass mortality site of trees that's out here.
So he's being humble about it. We're literally digging a petrified forest, like all of it. There are trees all over the place. Why are there trees all over the place in this one spot?
So in the Triassic era, northeast Arizona was a massive tropical floodplain. So the water was changing constantly, drying up, going away, so a lot of these trees would fall down, lay over, and get buried in the mud really quickly and then covered up and preserved.
So this was a big flash flood that took out a whole forest?
You know, at times it'd be a whole forest. Sometimes it was more isolated and just a small swath of them would go down.
Yeah.
But either way, there's, 300-400 feet thick of dead petrified trees that got covered in this mud and preserved very well.
Hold on. 300 or 400 feet?
Yep.
Of Triassic trees.
Yep, absolutely. The whole Triassic tree layer really goes 900 feet, but we're able to pin in our layer at least 300 to 400 of it going down.
That's insane.
Yep.
So is this just multiple, multiple events, flash flood events, just stacking one on top of each other?
Yep, absolutely. Now, of course, there is always some big events that will take out large swaths at a time, entire regions. But the majority of it, it's just small, isolated events that would lay down a group of trees. They get covered in the mud and they just build up over time.
Dude, that's insane!
It is absolutely
this is
incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in the Triassic. So tell people a little bit what was going on during that period of time.
So Triassic was 220 million years ago. It was just at the birth of the dinosaurs. We were going from Archosaurs into dinosaurs. We started to see like Coelophysis. That's a small little raptor that popped up.
Jurassic Park.
Yep, exactly. So it was a pretty critical time for the development of the dinosaurs. So we're slowly making the switch from Archosaurs into dinosaurs.
So this is really the birth of dinosaurs.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. A lot of people call it the dawn of the dinosaurs. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So keep going. Ark of the Dinosaurs.
Oh, absolutely. So, so at the same time when all this was going on, we had some pretty incredible foliage of araucaria palm trees, and also smaller trees called woodworthia. And there's an even smaller tree that's even more rare called schlidaria. But they all preserved very well. They lay down in these big bogs. They get covered in sediment very quickly. They dry. They'd be recovered again. They dry out again. It was just constant changing. That just made for all the right fixins to fossilize these amazing trees and to have thousands of them. Absolutely thousands of them cover this area.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's a blast.
So we got one tree, like giant, massive. This is the biggest tree I've ever seen.
This is the biggest one I've seen too, honestly.
And we're standing on it.
Yep.
So what's the process? What are we going to be doing?
So first we have to flag the trees. We have to figure out where they are, which obviously this is a lot easier than digging dinosaurs.
Yeah.
They stand out like a sore thumb. You can see them from quite a distance away. So we flag them, we mark them. Sometimes we'll number them if we think they're priority. So once we go through our priority list, we start to trench on the sides of the trees to expose everything and start taking them out one log at a time. And then we number them and try to keep them in their order, numbered on their pallets.
So like this giant tree that we've got here, that's the plan, is we're going to trench it and then get it under and lift it up, put it on a pallet.
Yep, absolutely.
So like this one right here, what species of tree is this?
So we've looked with an eye loop into the fungal spore replacement, which actually replaces the cell structure of the tree. And we could tell this was araucaria palm. That makes up for about 90% of what we find out here is the araucaria palm tree.
That's so cool that even back in that deep time you can tell what species of tree was around.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the preservation out here, I don't know if it's the sand. There's a lot of different science that goes behind this that I'm not 100% familiar with. But for some reason, the preservation out here is just incredibly stellar in comparison to other petrified wood sites. Now, there is a lot of great petrified wood sites, especially in the Southwest here in Utah, in New Mexico as well, and in Colorado. But the Arizona petrified wood, since it agatizes so beautifully, it really has created quite a name for itself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so let's start with the first step. You want to go flag some trees?
Sure, that sounds great. Absolutely.
You want to go flag some trees? Come on, let's go flag some trees. So, dude, here's one that is just, it's obvious this is a tree right here.
Yep.
So, what are we gonna do? Just expose it out, show that, hey, here's another one we need to dig?
Yeah. So first off, what's nice about this one, and this is one that we would prioritize, you can see there's only a little bit that's been exposed. It's not like the other one we just saw on the other side of the hill.
Yeah.
You know, where the upper 40% of the entire base of the tree has already been exposed. It's starting to crack and weather. You know, it's still a beautiful tree, and we can still process a lot of that material. But this is actually a little bit more sought after because of how little of it has now been exposed.
Okay, so what happens when it gets exposed?
You know, the freeze-thaw method is what we call it. You know, that's where you get a little bit of moisture in there, it freezes overnight, and then it thaws the next day, the moisture then freezes again. That expands and expands and expands, and it starts to break the tree down a little bit.
So we've got areas, we'll show you guys in a second, where, you know, just this freeze-thaw is literally going to destroy these trees.
Yeah.
Once they get on the surface, they're pretty much toast.
Yep. You have, you know, the trees you have a lot longer than dinosaur bones, luckily. You know, they can still sit on the surface for a good, 1,000 years or so. And they'll deteriorate away in weather, but before they're just completely dust, it takes a lot longer. But, also at a certain point, they're not really processable for people that want to cut and polish them.
Right.
So they're just going to continue to sit there.
Well, I mean, it's just nature doing its thing.
Yep.
Nature wants to take rocks and it wants to turn it into dust and then make it flat. That's this whole planet, that's what's going on. And these trees just kind of last a little bit longer. So this is a really cool tree. I mean, we're going to dig it out and it's still going. This is going to be a good size,
some of these
round tree.
Sometimes these will surprise you. They might be sideways and they could get a lot bigger as you go. But if that's not the case, this is actually kind of an ideal size, especially commercially. This is the size that you can cut around about yay big. It's more feasible for someone to take home with them, put on their mantle for a nice display piece, and admire it for the next thousands of years to come.
It's something that people can enjoy.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about this just real quickly because you're digging these trees for commercial sale.
Yeah.
So you're going to be selling this stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
So why wouldn't a paleontologist or an academic want this tree to study?
In my opinion, they're all incredible. I mean, these kind of, in a weird way, when you dig them up, you get kind of attached to them. I absolutely love these things. But to academics, when they study these day in and day out, there's really only so many times of one species of one tree that, you can really study without saying, hey, we kind of have this on lockdown already.
Yeah, we understand
these trees already. Now, if you find something that, maybe it has a burrow in there and you can see scratch marks from animals or something that somehow got preserved, that's worthy of going to science. But for the basic tree, you can see just by how many out here on our property, let alone on state land, different public land, the national park.
Yeah.
They have their hands full.
So let me ask you this: if you find something that's got like animal scratch marks and then worm bore tubes in it, what are you going to do with that tree?
Those we would donate to the Petrified Forest National Park. We would ask for them to take them and study them, do what they need to do. If for some reason they say, hey, we have tons of these burrows, we already know this is going on, this isn't of interest to us, that's something that we would then try to push more into a museum sale versus a commercial sale.
And see, that's what's awesome about a lot of commercial diggers is they want their stuff to go to science when it's needed. And in a situation like that, it is needed. But the fact is that these trees, and we're going to show you, this stuff isn't rare. It's actually quite abundant in the areas where these formations are. So the race is to get to this stuff before it turns into dust. And you guys need to see this. So you want to take them and show them an exploded tree that's laid out?
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
do this. Come on. So here we've got like all of these little pieces of petrified wood all over the ground. I mean, literally there. I mean, it's this whole area all back in through here.
Yeah.
So, but there's no tree going into the ground.
Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, this tree is 100% long gone. You can still salvage a few big pieces here and there, but this is something that we just didn't get to in time, and nature just ran its course, and now here we are.
So see, this is what nature is doing. Nature is taking, look, I'm just gonna grab a handful of dirt and bring it to you. That's it. That is all petrified wood, every bit of this. And this entire expanse before us is nothing but these little pieces, because that is what nature is doing to these woods is they're turning it back into dust. So, this stuff, this is why it's important to get in here and to save this stuff, so that individuals can appreciate it. If you find something that needs to go to science, it goes to science.
Yep, absolutely.
It's a race to get to this stuff before it happens here.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is just a prime example in real life.
Yeah.
Why it's really important to get this stuff out of the ground. You're right. It's absolutely not rare, but every bit of it should be cherished, whether it's academically or commercially.
And like you were saying, there's 300 feet
Yes.
of
Yep.
this.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's just mind blowing.
There's so much of this that there really isn't any reason that we can't go through and try to figure out a way to get this into both the right hands.
And see, here's the thing, guys, is that fossils aren't rare. They're actually quite abundant where they occur. What is rare is the amount of people that are out there hunting this stuff and finding this stuff. It's a really small community. We all pretty much know each other. So we hope with these episodes that we inspire some of you to get out there and discover some of this stuff, because it's abundant. It's out there. There's a lot of it, and we got to get to it before it turns into this and nobody can appreciate it. So, dude, let's start getting to work.
Absolutely. We got a big tree to dig out.
All right, let's dig it out. Come on. So this is what we do. We come in, we flag this stuff, make a road for the machine to get in and pull it out. And there is our wood, all flagged out and everything. This is going to be a real super nice piece. We'll get this thing dug out. Ty's coming over with the machine. We stack rocks with it because in this landscape it is so easy to lose your spot out in this landscape. So it's important to leave markers so you don't lose it. And there's the marker for our wood. And there comes Ty with the machine. So we'll get this one dug out. See how it goes, because this thing's going straight down into the ground at a 45-degree angle. You can see the angle of the tree heading straight down in. So this one's going to be another deep one. So here's what's fascinating about this tree is it's one that's going down at a 45-degree angle. It just shows the amount of dirt and sediment that was with this event that washed this log in this degree of an angle. So what we're doing is we're digging down right beside it, a few feet away from it so we don't damage it. And we're going to go down as deep as the machine can and get this log out.
Stupid erosion.
Look at all these crystal pockets. This is the crystal stuff that we were looking for. Not the whole tree that we wanted, but a bunch of really cool crystal-y pieces. Facts with Matt, facts with Matt. Okay, so dude, we have got these pieces of petrified wood, and it's got all kinds of sparkly stuff all over. What is going on here?
So the sparkly stuff is a Druzy quartz that formed on this wood while it was being petrified.
So a Druzy quartz. So, like, get into that. Like, what caused it to form?
So when a lot of petrified wood is formed, it's replaced with mineral called, or an element called silica. Quartz is basically pure silica. So while this tree was being hardened by that silica, it was there were cavities in it that allowed the silica to crystallize, forming this quartz.
That's awesome! And some of them have carbon inclusions in it, right?
Yeah. All this black that we have here is all just raw carbon from the inside of this tree. It did not petrify in this case. So some of it will look like smoky quartz, but really it's just clear quartz with carbon inclusions.
With carbon inclusions. So when the crystal grows, it grows into and around that carbon?
It can. It just depends on what's in there. When quartz forms, usually anything that's in that cavity that it's forming in, it will grab it and absorb it.
That's just so cool. I mean, this is the tree that, is long since dead, yet there's still stuff, crystals, growing on it and inside it. That's so cool!
I know!
Dude. Back to Matt. Dude, what the hell? This is nuts, dude. What the hell? This is giant, and it's like, What's going on?
So here we have a big petrified tree. More than likely it's going to be araucaria palm.
Okay.
We don't quite know for sure yet. But this one's actually going in at a really steep angle, so we have to dig a lot of dirt out to get this guy.
This is huge, and there's some like really cool black stuff all over this tree.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what we need?
What do we need?
Facts with Matt.
Facts with Matt.
Facts with Matt! So, Matt, what do we got going on with this tree, dude? This is awesome.
So on this tree, we have some pretty incredible preservation. The bark has actually been carbonized. So most of the time when you have a petrified tree, you don't find the bark. You only find the inside of the tree.
So this is actual bark?
I believe so,
or organic material or something?
It could be like some kind of algae on the top of it. I'm not too versed with this formation, but based off of what I've seen in Texas, I would call this bark.
That is so insane. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is, and it's soft, and you can check it out. I mean, it's like looking at firewood. Look at this stuff. This is incredible. So and it's the entire tree. So what causes, why do we have this? We've got a rock, and then we've got this firewood looking stuff. What causes this?
So this is mainly going to be preservational. Either the silica, there wasn't enough silica to replace the whole tree with the bark, or it set on the surface and kind of decomposed a little bit on the outside before being covered up. There's a lot of factors that come into play, so it's hard to say exactly which one or ones would have caused this preservation on this one.
How rare is something like this?
It's not uncommon. You do find some trees with the bark, but walking around looking on the surface, you're not going to find any of this stuff because of how flaky it is.
Right, and it'll turn straight to dust.
Exactly.
So while this isn't entirely unheard of, maybe nothing to get, academia excited about, it's still something cool that you don't see very often that gets us excited about it. And that's just, dude, you can touch it. This is as close to the Triassic as you can get, and you touch it. This is so cool, dude. Man, is there any other thing you'd like to share with us about this?
I mean, until we get it uncovered more, can't really say a whole lot more about it, other than it's a beautiful tree, and this thing is going to be awesome.
That's
I can't wait to
awesome.
see it out of the ground.
All right, well, let's get this thing out of the ground.
Cool.
Matt, thank you.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Facts with Matt. So, dude, we've got this giant, massive hole, and Ty's back there digging it out. What are we doing?
So right now we're taking the logs out section by section. So usually the trees will naturally break apart every 2 to 3 feet, sometimes 4 or 5 feet if it's a really big one and a really good one. But we're just taking it out section by section right now because it's more manageable than trying to lift the entire tree all at the same time.
So you guys aren't breaking this tree up. It's already got natural breaks going down.
So it's such a big hard rock, but as the ground shifts, it naturally breaks the tree in different places. It almost kind of slices them.
Yeah, kind of like a loaf of bread.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
And so it's like a loaf of bread, and what Ty's doing with the backhoe is he's taking the forks of the bucket and he's getting down in between those natural breaks and prying them apart, picking them up with the bucket, and then getting it to a manageable position. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. All right, let's let this dude do his work, man. Look. Lamph here, Utah dump digger, digging this thing out, man. So this is a conundrum to get this tree out, because I'm putting it in an angle. So, you know, when you get to a spot like this, you know, well, first off, how do you excavate these trees?
I mean, the best way I found is you go alongside them. You actually don't dig the tree itself. You dig alongside the tree as close as you can dare get, and then by hand we're shoveling off so we don't hit the tree with the equipment and break it up if we can try to.
So when you get to a conundrum like this,
I mean, the problem we've got is we're about the reach of this backhoe, and so this last piece here, we didn't get underneath it. We hit it, it exploded a little bit. This one section, it had all the big Druzy pockets, big hollows in it, so it fell apart pretty easy. It's getting bigger, it's getting deeper. We might get one more section and we're gonna be done. We won't be able to get it. Plus we're hitting a tree going this way, another one underneath it going this way. There's one in the wall up above us. I mean, it's a little log jam here too, so we're hitting stuff everywhere.
And it's like Aamon was saying, we've got 300 feet of this. We've got trees to get this tree. And sometimes you just get so deep, you know, it's got to stay there until the mountain continues to erode, and then in another million years.
I mean, you could spend a lot of time benching this down, taking it down to where you can actually drive the machine down lower, and then you can reach deeper and lower and deeper, and it's a never-ending hole.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. We'll let you get to work.
All right, thanks.
All right, so we're with Andre Lujan and Matthew Harrell with the Triple T Museum, the Texas Through Time.
That's right.
And you guys are up here collecting this stuff that's around the tree. What's so special about what's around the tree?
Well, this matrix right here is really different than some of the fine-grained sandstone that we see in other places. It looks like it was deposited in a high-energy channel. There's lots of plant material, there's clay clasts, there's all different little small layers, and it just looks really good for microfossils.
So that's what you guys are going for, is microfossils.
Mainly.
Okay, so what kind of stuff can you find in this?
You know, potentially we could find it's a water environment, a wet environment. We could find teeth of fish and scales and small bones like that. Maybe some amphibians and hopefully some reptiles. But
that's so awesome. And so when you guys do this stuff for your museum, what are you going to do with the stuff? Is it going to go in your collection?
Yeah, we'll take any fossils that we find and we'll add them to the Texas Through Time collections, and you know, just use them for study if anybody needs some comparative material, and hopefully we find some new critters.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. That'd be so cool.
So yeah, we have some matrix from around the tree right here, more specifically right underneath and along the sides. And it's loaded with carbon and gypsum and some larger class, and there should be some nice leaf impressions. There could even be some vertebrate or invertebrate fossils in here. So we're going to break it down and we're going to see what pops out. Maybe we have a new fossil deposit.
So you were saying this is similar to the Aguja?
Yeah, so this matrix is kind of similar to a deposit we dig in the Aguja Formation of western Texas. We get kind of the same modeling, kind of the same mineralization, even the large amount of carbon, and we find a lot of stuff in there, everything from a 0.5 millimeter up.
So what are you going to do with that piece?
So what we're going to do is we're going to take this matrix and a bunch more of it back to the lab down in Texas at Texas Through Time, and we are going to we're going to break it down with baking soda and water. I tried. We're going to break it down with baking soda and water so we can screen out all the fossils and see what's inside of it. But before we do that, we'll of course break it apart and see if there's any good leaf impressions in there, because those won't survive the soak. So here's another chunk of that matrix from around the tree. Right in here, these black lines are a lot of leaf impressions and plant impressions. And this one more specifically, it looks to be a carbonized leaf. You can see some of the veins coming out and the basic structure you could expect from a leaf.
So, dude, you have got like a huge load of wood. Yeah. This isn't your average wood haul.
No, not at all. Not
so,
at all.
What are you guys doing with all? What's the plan?
So, part of this we wholesale as is and send out to people that want to cut and polish it, use it for yard decoration, whatever they please to do with it. And some of it we actually process ourselves. So we'll go through and polish these into a nice dome polish, you know, really kind of show exactly what can be under here if someone later wanted to go through and slice this into slabs.
That's awesome, dude. How many loads are you going to take out of here?
So this for us is load number 4, and we have a partner here who's doing just as many loads as I am, so he'll be doing number 8 technically. We're hoping to do around 10, maybe 12 or so by the end of the trip, so we only got a few left.
And you know what's wild is that's not the tip of the iceberg with how many trees are out here.
Yeah.
I mean, that is insane.
Yeah.
There's one, there's one,
Yeah.
there's one.
We are barely scratching the surface, but what I can't stress enough is that this wood is protected under state law on state and federal land, so you have to do all of this on private land.
So let's talk about that for a second,
Sure.
because you use satellite technology,
Yes, yep,
right,
yep.
to show where you're at.
Yep.
Explain that to us.
So we use an app on our phone that maps out all of the different parcels out in our area that show the name and the landowner, and we can actually map it down to a couple feet where our property line is. In no way, shape, or form do we ever want to do this on public land or somebody else's land that we just don't have permission. So it's really important to keep this all on either your private land or permission you've been granted to go hunt and dig on.
And see, that's an important aspect, guys, because even though, like we were showing you earlier, the fossils are eroding and being destroyed, even though that process is going on private land and federal land, if it's on federal land, you can't touch it. Even though that fossil is being destroyed by nature and the elements, you can't touch it. There should, maybe one day there'll be a permitting system where you can get a license to go hunt fossils. I think that would be awesome. Call your congressman and talk to him about it. But until that day comes, you can't touch it. So Aamon you guys go through a huge amount of trouble before you even start to walk around with your app on your phone that shows you the satellite images of your property, that uses GPS, that shows exactly where you are on that property.
Absolutely.
To know that you are digging on your property and not federal or state.
Yeah, sometimes it can literally take months to be able to get in touch with these landowners and track them down. But you just have to stick with it and know that you're going about it the right way, and that's what makes the difference.
And see, you said it exactly. It's doing it the right way. So on no shape or form, if you see a fossil on federal land or on property that's not yours, leave it alone. It's not for you to mess with. Only collect on private property with landowner's permission or your own property, like Aamon. This is his property. So, all right, cool, man. Well, we're not going to hold you up. Let's let you get into town
and get going. Unloaded. Sounds good.
Okay, dude, this is awesome, man. I mean, this is still cool. It wasn't the big giant tree that we hoped, but it's a cool surprise. What do we got going on here?
Well, as you start to get more into this industry and as you start to get more into excavating wood out here, you're going to learn a lot. And something that we have definitely learned through this excavation is that some of the trees, as they go into the ground, and whether it's the freeze-thaw method or whether it's from different chemical changes in the sand, they're starting to kind of break apart along the seams of these big crystals. And so even though this might not be a huge tree like we were hoping it would be, there's still lots of sections in here that are very usable. So there's no reason not to harvest all of this and take it home with you, process it, cut and polish the big pieces, sell the smaller pieces as is. Yeah, this is still amazing stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, dude, look at this. This is awesome. God, check this out. That is such a cool crystally piece of wood. Look at the crystals. What kind of crystals are these, Aamon?
Most of them are calcite crystals and some of them are smoky quartz.
It's so cool, man. And there's lots of teeny tiny pieces that would work good for small rock shops and stuff like that. That want to have people want a real piece of petrified wood. This is how it gets from the site to there.
Yep, absolutely.
It's a shame we don't have a big log like you were hoping, but or we were hoping.
Yeah.
But this is still a great surprise.
Yeah.
So why is the log black?
So the black is mostly from the lignite that's on the outside here. That's a kind of a compressed charcoal. Some of it can be bark too from the tree. And so that kind of controls the color here. Now, as we get deeper into the chinle layer, you're going to start to find the rainbow agatized wood. Most of that's found over by the Petrified Forest National Park. These layers are still at the top of the 900-foot thick layer of petrified wood that's in the chinle. And so on the very top of it is what's known as the black forest, and that's exactly where we're at right now.
So, that's a fun fact. That there's 900 feet of this still going.
It's a massive, massive layer. Now, the actual chinle layer itself, outside of the wood, is about 3,000 feet thick. So it's a really big, thick strata that runs all the way through. and about 1/3 of it is basically just petrified wood.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So, you know, this shows the importance of getting out here and collecting this stuff, you know, as we've shown with these little teeny tiny bits all over the ground. You know, this is what erosion does. You know, erosion wants to turn mountains flat, and what it does is you get the freeze thaw within these rocks. You get water, you know, because of the temperatures and that get here during the day. Water gets down into it, freezes the rock. The ice expands, breaks the rock apart, and that process keeps happening until you get over and over until you get dirt. And that's why it's important to get out here and to collect this stuff, is to, you know, kind of beat, you know, that freeze thaw from happening, erosion to taking place, and save some stuff so that people can enjoy this stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because you're going to take, you know, all of these pieces, you're going to take and do something with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is all marketable material, even though it's not big, huge rounds. This is all really important material, and this is stuff that's a lot more feasible for someone to get into their hand and take home with them, put in their collection, and admire for years to come. You know, this little piece alone could be responsible for getting someone so into petrified wood that it changes their life. You know?
Yes. That's what we're doing.
Exactly, exactly.
And we've got some of these really cool crystally pieces headed back to the relic room, but you're right, man. I mean, this is what gets people inspired, because guys, there's a lot of this out here. It is insane how much there is out here. This is one section of a 300-foot, 900-foot layer, and we're not taking anything away from, you know, science. This stuff isn't rare. I mean, it's there.
Yeah,
but what it can do is this can inspire somebody, maybe you, to get out there and discover some awesome history, because it's out here. So this is awesome, man. Well, let's bag it, tag it. Anything else you wanted to add?
You know, I guess the biggest thing I'd like to add here too is that just to always remember that if you're going to be out collecting petrified wood, you know, whether it's state of Arizona, whether it's Montana, South Dakota, always try to keep to private land. Ask for landowner permission. Go about it the right way. You know, and in our case, we're doing it on our own land, so digging big, huge holes like this isn't really too big of a deal to us. But if you were to go out and do this on someone else's land, go about it the right way and get permission.
Yeah, always get permission. Never dig on federal property or state property at all.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, let's get to bagging and tagging this stuff.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cool. So, dude, we've got another log here, and this one's solid.
Yeah, for the most part, it looks like there might be some kind of like board cut cracks going through as we get closer to the base, but yeah, this one's looking really solid as we go in here.
So the plan now is to get all this dirt cleared off it, get straps around it, pick it up, put it on the trailer, and haul it into town.
Yeah, you know, since we have a lot of grass growing in the top of this, it's probably best that to get all the dirt off, we just flip it and, you know, let it naturally fall off instead of us trying to force it. And yeah, we'll just get the straps on it, put it onto the flatbed, get it into town.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And, you know, like we were saying, there's still 300 more feet of this.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're in no short supply, you know. As my friend here was cutting the road in with the blade, we uncovered 2 more partial trees just as we were cutting the road in. So we're in no short supply here. You know, it's just a matter of making sure you find good, solid logs like these up towards the front.
Yeah, and this will make great specimen pieces.
Yes,
and, you know, for people who want yard art or...
Yep, they work really well for yard ornaments, you know, fireplace stone, things like that. What we like to do, though, is cut the tops of them and polish them. That really brings out just the beauty of what's being held within this wood. You can see all the rings, you can see the core. There's fungal rot within the wood that we covered in another video that you can polish out too. I mean, just amazing, amazing stuff.
So this is something that, you know, if you wanted to, because you've got the setup where you can slice this stuff like a chainsaw and polish that up too.
Absolutely, yeah. So this summer we're actually going to build a really big saw so we can start doing these big, huge, gargantuan logs up to 3 feet in diameter. And so right now we can only cut about 9-10 inches or so, so it's going to be a major step up for our production to be able to process this really big material finally.
That's awesome, man. All right, well, let's let Todd do his work and get this stuff out.
Let's do it.
All right. This has been an awesome dig. I mean, certainly one to we found a lot of stuff.
Oh my God, we found a lot of stuff.
So let's just recap real quick. So, you know, you went out, we dug a bunch of wood, we got it loaded, took it back into town. What's the plan for the stuff after that?
So the plan for the stuff after that is to get it on the semi-trucks, get it into the trailers, things like that, and get it to its proper home. The stuff that we're taking home, we're going to cut and polish, and we're going to process through it, you know, really try to figure out exactly what colors they all contain, Try to see if we can find any good rings in there as well, good fungal spore pockets that have been replaced with crystal, and try to figure out what logs are kind of our A-grade logs and what ones to prioritize, basically.
Okay. So a piece like this, what's your plan for cutting and polishing it? What would you do?
So a piece like this, we just lob the top of it off into a nice flat surface, and then I just contour polish with a little contour polisher, and try to get it to bring out its just brilliance and, you know, different colors and all the rings.
Now, what's contour polishing?
Contour polishing is a little angle grinder that has a water feed going through it. You put 4-inch diamond grit pads on there, and you start with 50 grit, the roughest grit, and you go all the way to 10,000 grit for the final polish.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's
so
nuts.
It's a fun process.
That's cool. So you still get the natural lop and shape of
exactly.
wood.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, here's another neat thing that we kind of talked about a little bit. What's this black stuff on here?
So the black is a mix of organic material. Some of it can actually be bark preservation, we just found out through excavating these big trees. But it's organic material that has compressed on the outside of the tree itself. And actually this black material, this lignite here, I'm pretty sure this is what's responsible for helping preserve this tree down to such a fine matter.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool, dude. I mean, it's organic. That's just, I mean, it's like it's coal almost, you know? But it's just carbonized, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, absolutely.
Just changed straight into carbon.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's very neat.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, Aamon, if people want to get a hold of you, where can they get a hold of you?
So the best place to get a hold of me is on our Facebook. It's Northwest Montana Fossils. We're also on TikTok and Instagram as well, so feel free to get a hold of us there. We have a store in downtown Whitefish, Montana, called Northwest Montana Fossils as well.
Nice,
So, yeah.
Nice. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Aamon, thank you so much for having us out.
Appreciate you.
This was a
Thank
blast,
you. Oh,
dude.
this was awesome. Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. Please do us a favor and like and subscribe to our channel. If you get an opportunity to comment. Tell us how we're doing. Let us know what you think. If you want to get a hold of us, you are watching Chasing History. This is the educational arm of the Smoky Mountain Relic Room. www.therelicroom.com, or look us up on all the socials. So, Aamon, thanks, dude. I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you guys.
History rocks.
History rocks.
Where's your camel?
Chase!
Hey, Captain Lawrence! Where's your camel?
We had to eat the camel. Very good. Camel hump. Very good.